So with our handsome Mr. A, ready, Allston? We're going to try, nice, and work a little bit with going to a place. So I don't know if he's got a cot at home, so like a raised bed, or if he's got just a regular dog bed, or a little blanket, or a couch. Again, whatever works for you guys for your target. When working with placement on a thing, I would highly recommend to pick something you'd like him to use for down the road as well. So if it's typically a place you don't really love him hanging out on, choose one that you'd prefer him to practice with. So right now in the beginning stages of going to a place or a target is I'm just right now heavily reinforcing him several reps, one after the other, for being on the target. So we will go from practicing a place or a bed or whatever you want it to be for your venue. And then from there, we're going to practice a bit with stay. So stay, for example, is going to be different than your weight. So I know I've gone over some of this in some of the other videos, so don't worry if this is a little bit of a retouch based on to some things you may have already heard. But I do find sometimes, doing a little bit, Mr. Hanson's like eating my wall slightly. Let me help him. So Mr. Rocky says, but I'd really like to do some find-its on top of checking out your delicious wall. So ready? So Allston, come. Nice, great little recall for our handsome guy. So when it comes to a bed, place, target, I'm not sure what you guys want to pick for a slogan, but I'd recommend like bed, mat, target, whatever floats your boat. So right here, we're just, again, feeding the beginning stages of going to this bubble and having it seem beneficial to use this for his, again, place for later would stay. So as I was mentioning before, Mr. Hanson got me a little distracted, Mr. R, is you want to think about your stay as in stay there until I come to get you. So some folks have done stay as in stay and I'm going to call you, or stay, I'm going to go get you. So at that point, a lot of times the dogs get very confused because one day they're correct for moving and the next day they're not correct for wiggling. So let's say they hold back and maybe they're supposed to wiggle. It gets really confusing for the puppy. So I like to have my stay be stay there until I go and get them. With wait, I would have my puppy wait and call them to me. So we're going to take a little break from his little cot just for a second so I can sort of show you. So, oh, wait, he's like, no, I really like my bed. Is that one of your favorites? Oh, look at you being brilliant. I feel like he may have been practicing already, or he just really likes the cot, which is awesome. So wait, for example, is you could use that for wait at the door, wait before hopping out of the car, wait before being fed, maybe wait before I throw a toy and you go to retrieve it, or maybe even wait before meeting grandma. But if, let's say, for example, you are sometimes using your stay and it's also involving a recall, what can help your stay become more solidified and more reliable is to actually feed the stay for only when they're stationary. So I think of stay as in freeze tag with room service. So the pup is stuck in their spot and that's the only time they get their payment for staying still. Later, you will not be feeding your puppy every 1 to 3 seconds. It could be 5 to 10 minutes between each rep. He's like, lady, I'm starving. So I'm going to get him up and wiggle because we didn't actually apply the stay. This is going to be my wait. So wait would be hold back, sir or madam. I love it. He's nibbling his cheeks. And then we'll go, Allston, come, and feed him from the moving from his weight. There's a fly in here. He says it's a little distracting. So if, let's say in the beginning, your weights, you should always think about, and of course, Mr. Hanson says, why aren't we wrestling? So, but your weights in the beginning, just like with any of your other skills, is you want to think about those 3 Ds. So there's your duration, which is how long can your puppy do it and do it well, or how short or long can those intervals be. Then there's also your distraction level. What are you competing against out in the environment? And then also your distances between you and your pup, or between your pup and something else that could be, again, a little bit of a trigger or exciting thing. So Mr. A says, I'm just going to take a break with my hoof because I'm already tired. So ready? So we'll do, again, one of those little find-its. We'll get him up and wiggling. And then from here, I'll do another little one. Ready? Find it. And then I'm going to give him a little break for this hoof. We'll play with it again in just a little bit. So with these beautiful weights, if, let's say in the beginning, ready? I'm going to get his attention. We're going to get a little sit. I'm going to tell him to wait. He's like, no, but I really like the cot. That might be one of his favorite things today. Ready? So I'm going to bring him a little bit away. We're going to get a little sit. Tell him to wait. Allston, come. Nice. So in the beginning, I'm not adding tons of distance on top of a very short time frame. Because if you can barely hold, let's say, a weight for a few seconds, I'm not going to get distance and distractions on top of that. So weights, again, they're waiting and you call them to you and they break. Stays are going to be they stay still and you have to go and retrieve them from their spot. So I'm going to tell him stay. And then what I'm going to do is hang out with him. I might add a teeny bit of movement if he could tolerate it. And then I'm going to feed him again for holding still. You don't want to, for example, feed for the stay when they break. We want to only feed for while they're in it. So ready, we might go again, bed. And then right here, I might feed him for placing on the target. Then we might get our sit. We might tell him to stay. And he's like, my brain melted. And truthfully, remember, if your babe is sometimes a little tired, oh, he's going to go grab a drink, I think. But if your babe is having sometimes moments where he's not as focused, he could be getting fatigued. He's been here again for a few hours. So again, they do get tired. So right now we're going to try once more. I'm going to tell him to stay. I'm going to keep the rapid fire going a little bit shorter so I can start to build in some really good benefits in trying to hold still when sometimes maybe the environment is more challenging than we can tolerate at times. So right here, we're feeding several little goodies. Then I would go all done. And then we could maybe wiggle our fingers, but there's no food for getting off of our target bed. If he wants to place on again, we could go ahead and feed him for that placement because we're creating great value in doing the bed or whatever cot you have. We might go stay. And now we're going to feed Mr. Handsome a couple little tidbits for being in the stay position. So I like to, again, think about stay as in freeze tag with room service, where he's holding his spot. And for doing so, he's being fed for not wiggling. As, again, this becomes more mature, you could add in distance. You could add in more time between the intervals. You could throw in distraction levels like you guys walking or trotting around him. But for now, I don't like to throw those all together because it's more than likely going to potentially set him up to fail. So again, we're feeding for all these lovely stays. I'm going to feed him his last little stay. And these are teeny weeny crumbs. I'm going to go all done. And we get up and wiggle. He's like, oh my gosh, a down. If your babe gets stuck in their stay, because they're starting to create a lot of great associations with vegging and relaxation, this could be a moment where typically I don't feed for getting off. But if, let's say, you really wanted to end it, he's like, ma'am, why aren't you feeding me? I might go and I might show him some goodies, but I might see if I can get him off. But then I'm going to go ahead and ask for a sit. So I'm going to feed for the behavior I'd prefer. I don't like to feed for getting out of the stay, because I really want to create the value in being in it, not breaking from it. So we'll see if we can, again, go to our bed. Nice. We're going to try a few more reps. I'm going to tell him to stay. And I love it that his little cheekies get stuck on his teeth. So cute. So again, while he's rocking in a stay position, excuse me, I should not be drinking seltzer, is if, for example, he breaks, which means he got up and he wiggled from his spot, I would restart it. But if, let's say, he's doing a splendid job holding his position, I would go ahead. Rocky says, Rocky says there's some dry goodies to chew on. Here. Rocky, ready? Find it, please. There we go. We'll just move that out of range a little bit. There we go. So I'm just moving. Sorry, I was out of camera range for a second. Rocky was trying to go after, there's some foam that they filled in some holes with, and he says it looks really nice to just pluck it out slightly. He's not eating it. He's just, redecorating. So for the handsome Mr. Hand, right here, I know Rocky's like, how dare you tell me I can't chew on that disgusting wall? So if I lose my puppy and he breaks, I would reset him up. So again, sit. We might, and if he wants to do a down stay and that's easier for him, you can always do whichever behavior seems best. He says he's starving. So ready, down. And if he's a little excited, again, stay. And now I'm going to feed him for holding the down stay. So I want to make this short and sweet for great success. Nice. And then we could be all done, and then we get up and wiggle. Nice. So don't make the stays be so extensive that your pup can't manage it, and make sure that when you're practicing, you're giving breaks. So even though your puppy might be doing a beautiful job going and targeting, that might be the first step. So if, let's say, this is where they have to start, perfectly fine. And of course, Mr. R is going for my wall again, and then Allston's like, can I help? But again, with the stay behavior, keep it at your puppy's range of comfort. If you find they're constantly getting up and off of their target or wiggling or not really able to pay attention, then they might be working it for too long, or maybe they need to do a different skill instead. and work that for a few moments and then come back to it. So again, ready? Come. Allston. He's like, no, I really want to go wrestle. Ready? So if let's say I don't get him right there. Yes, nice job. And he's, again, a little bit sad because Rocky's now singing a sweet song to him. So if you don't get your puppy the first time, go a little closer. Ready? Allston. He's like, I really would rather just play with him. Ready? We'll do a little find it. Nice job. So don't worry if at times you have to, ready, tweak your criteria to get your puppy to hone in on the skill you'd prefer. So I know he's getting tired, so I'm going to give him a little chew, give him a little break. Another great way to practice your target spot is by sometimes pairing it with a chew or an item like a Kong or something, and then they could work on that while also then dealing with working that settle on the mat, and now they have a pacifier. So, but we'll give Mr. Handsome, Mr. A little break because he did a really great job, but I know he's getting a little fatigued. And then we'll rotate through our beauties.